Ah, finally, finally. This is a pack I've been waiting for since 2016. 7 years later and it's finally here. Thank you to our fellow patrons Redwolf4765, Midnight Gemlord, and Sean. And a thank you to our $3 members Recliner Plays and Redwolf4765. And another very big thank you to our $25 patron Alex Ice Rose. And a very big thank you to our $25 member Alex Ice Rose. Now, we have this breakdown / review of chapter 386 of My Hero Academia. Please remember you're on this chapter in the comments section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also hit that little notification bell to miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also I do a Patreon below. It's always as low as $1 month. Exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include the live reaction to this very chapter. Now let's hop into chapter 386. What's up, guys? I'm Hunter, and here we are to read chapter 386 of My Hero Academia, which is known as I Am Here. I'm not gonna lie to you, dog. I ain't gonna lie to you. I have no faith. I have absolutely no faith. I don't care if he has the Iron Man mark 1,000. Bro is gonna be rolled up, and I cannot wait. It's been so long. My word. Like, it's crazy that it's actually been 7 years. Like, this pack is 7 years in the making. Like, straight up. Realistically, it's not even 7 years in the making. It's darn near 9 years in the making. Like, MHA started in 2014. But obviously, where I expected a certain character to get packed was in 2016, when they first battled their adversary. But now, 7 years of waiting will make this one of the best packs ever. But let's actually give some context to what I'm talking about, and let's hop right into it. So we open up, and we do get to see that things are, for lack of a better term, not going well. Like, not at all. Because everything that could go wrong kind of is going wrong right now. First things first, while they do have some new evacuation blocks moving, a lot of them are still stuck. Like, legitimately, they're just stuck in place still. There's a whole bunch of civilians whose lives are still on the line because they aren't able to get these blocks up and moving like they want them to. Number two, All for One is schmoovin', with everyone getting absolutely whacked last chapter like they should have been. Yeah, the third most powerful creature to ever exist is currently lunging at top speed towards a battle between the first and second most powerful creatures to ever exist. Also, those creatures are completely unrestricted. There's no one erasing the abilities of one of those creatures, meaning if one of those creatures were to just touch the ground at any moment, at any instant, GG. Like, it's just simple as that. Decay happens and everyone gets wiped. So that's going on right now. And on top of that, they don't have anyone else. Like, there's no one on the docket who can stop them now. Like, Endeavor's still fighting Dabi, so that's not going to happen. Obviously, everyone else got knocked last chapter, and there ain't no one there to res them. And then who's left? Star and Stripe got GG'd over, like, what, 50 chapters ago at this point, so she ain't going to be a factor. And that's it. Because they don't have anyone else. Like, everyone else is already knocked or just not here. And even if someone miraculously were to appear or like offer themselves up from another nation, they wouldn't be able to get there in time. And everyone from within their nation is once again either knocked or not fighting, or they would be useless. Like, legitimately, if a full power Dark Shadow, admittedly fatigued but still full power Mount Lady with extra weaponry, and Gigantomachia, the walking mountain man, could not hold him down, there's no one else pre-set up on our side of the verse in terms of the hero side that could actually come in and put work against this literal deity that is the new All for One. So, like, everything that can go wrong is going wrong. And that's not all, because we see as they're reviewing the data of how horrible the situation is, a guy freaks out so hard that he goes wah, and falls backwards on his rear end, and it's like, no, this is bad, that heat, Ganga, Dabi's heat, oh, we're all gonna, and we see Sukichi, I have no idea how to say his name. All I know, he's voiced by Kagi Films in the English dub. I know he's voiced by Kagi Films, and Sei Toshi's also voiced by Kagi Films, or Alejandro Saab. I think that's I know him as Kagi Films, but Alejandro Saab. That's all I know about. Oh wait, this is Namasa, right? Namasa? Naomasa. Hold on. Akuna Matata, his name is Naomasa. So yeah, it is Naomasa Tsukichi. I'm not sure if I'm saying his last name right or first name. I'm not sure which one it is. I'm just gonna call him Naomasa. But Naomasa's like, dude, but calm down. I know you are 100% valid for freaking and geeking right now, but we need you to calm down. What about his heat? Spit it out. Has Endeavor been defeated? Can you imagine? Like, I mean, maybe this is just a massive Endeavor fan to me, but can you imagine if Endeavor actually got off screen? Like, we didn't get to see his fight, he actually just lost, or he didn't get off screen, and like Corey told us that he lost, and then we flash back next chapter, or even this chapter. That would sadden me so much. Like, I don't know. I love Endeavor. He still is my favorite My Hero Academia character, and the gap is girthy. Like, I'm not even gonna pretend that it's close. Like, the person who's in second place, there might as well be like a second, third, and fourth place in between them. But in terms of character enjoyment and how much I like their writing and how much I rate their writing, Endeavor's number one. So if he got off screen, I would be so sad. Unbelievably sad. However, luckily enough, no, Endeavor has not been defeated just yet. But there's something even worse than Endeavor being defeated right now. Apparently, according to the guy, Dabi has been internally compressing thermal energy. He's filled with an incredible amount of it. Like, he's just been packing it on. And notably, I think we did have this hinted at a while ago. When he activated Phosphorus magically, because he shouldn't have been able to do that, but magically activated Phosphorus, where was all that heat centered? His chest. And where were the cracks already forming on Dabi's burnt body? His chest. So thusly, it seems like, I want to say his heart, but no, it just seems like he's literally been centering it on like his sternum. I have no idea. Like, if I was trying to logically explain Endeavor or Dabi's quirks, I have no idea how it would, because like, they're not coming from a specific organ. But at this rate, since his body is like so fragile and frail, he's essentially just like sinew, muscle, and bone. Like, there's no fat on him, nothing left. He's literally a burnt, charred, walking corpse, essentially. He's essentially just a walking, living, breathing explosion, just waiting to happen. And pretty much at any moment, well, any minute, but pretty much any moment, he's gonna blow. Like, legitimately, everywhere. And it's gonna be sticky. It's so sticky, in fact, that it's going to violently escape him and immediately soak and cover the entire area, creating a massive high-pressure explosion that will cremate everything within a 5-kilometer diameter. For people who don't use the metric system, 3.1 miles. Now, that doesn't sound too bad. Like, remember, this is the same guy who, along with the rest of his family, created like a intercontinental storm. So like 3.1 miles doesn't sound too bad, right? Until you realize that, like, everything is within 3.1 miles of each other. Like, where he is currently fighting Endeavor in Ganga is directly in the middle of the two fighting areas. And while hypothetically, it would be no problem for all the demigods to tank that. Like, there should be no reason for Midoriya to get wiped by that. There should be no reason for, heck, even Shigaraki to be wiped by that. They'll be fine. We do have a whole bunch of heroes back at Ganga who are currently laid out and extremely weak. Meaning that, hypothetically, if they were to be hit by the embers of Dabi's massive oncoming blast, it would immediately fail and fall apart. Because, they would all perish. And at the same time, sure, Shigaraki and Midoriya might be able to tank it, but only one of them is going to be able to regenerate from it. And heads up, it's not Midoriya. Meaning that even if Midoriya were to somehow magically just eat this with minimal damage, any extra damage that gets done on him is an extra leg up for Shigaraki, who could already hypothetically one-shot him as long as he grabs him once. Like, legitimately, as long as Shigaraki gets his hands on Midoriya once, then Midoriya loses. So he can't even necessarily fight fully conventionally, because all Shigaraki has to do is just be like, ha, I gotcha, and then bada bing, bada boom. And that doesn't help the fact that, a massive detonation of that scale would also fry anybody who's in Shiketsu or UA. So all those civilians, all those heroes, all of them would get absolutely fish fried if Dabi actually manages to detonate here. And seemingly enough, there seems to be a little bit of confusion around this. Because it just seems too perfect, right? Like, literally down to the blast radius, it seems way too perfect. He's perfectly positioned in between these two crunch points so that he would literally decimate both of them. And that would essentially be an instant loss. Like, legitimately, it would be like an irreversible loss. Midoriya would get extreme damage. All hypothetical backup that could hypothetically be brought to the battle, even though that should be like non-applicable at this point. There's really no one who could come, unless Recovery Girl goes out and starts slapping up everybody. Slapping up is the wrong term, but starts kissing up on, that doesn't sound good either. But once again, that's how it is. Once she starts kissing up on people, they're probably already so tired and drained that they wouldn't even be able to do anything if they were healed. And on top of that, they'd be fodder. So that wouldn't even work out. But still, not only would they get packed, every single civilian that's trapped in one of those unmoving or even some of the moving evacuation cubes would also get fish fried immediately. This would literally be the ultimate GG. The only hypothetical good thing that could come out of Dabi detonating, well, two, is one, Dabi would detonate, and thus you wouldn't have to worry about him anymore, but that may not be the best scenario, for one, because obviously the damage, and two, hypothetically, maybe damaging him just a little bit more would put All For One on the leashes. Like, maybe he would finally succumb to Rewind at that point, because he would have to take even more damage from the detonation, and we know that damage apparently accelerates the process, and let's be completely real, we saw that Hawks can damage All For One. Hawks! Not to talk of a massive cremation explosion that would detonate everything. So yeah, Dabi suddenly building up like this is horrible. And he's also fighting the worst person possible for this. He's fighting Endeavor, whose whole thing is what? Hold on, let me stroke my chin and think. Fire, meaning that fighting Endeavor, if anything, is not helping this process, but speeding them up. Meaning that Endeavor is essentially putting his son on a crash course to mass destruction. And to be fair, you can definitely argue he already did that, so what's the difference now? But now this isn't just like a mass destruction of a couple innocent people, it's a mass destruction of like at least 100. He catching a couple bodies with this one. So now Masa even begins to break down, and he's wondering like how? Like, how did this happen? This is like way too perfect. There's no way Dabi realized that this would do it. But then he realizes, wait, Skeptic, in like maybe not a last ditch effort, but when he was doing this, may have told Dabi, hey yo, bro, if you gonna detonate anyway, I can tell you a good place to detonate if you want to do some damage. So Skeptic, even though LaBrava took him down a couple chapters back, already did his damage. Like, legitimately, that is like physically the worst thing Skeptic could have done in comparison to literally anything else. Sending a living, breathing detonation to the best place where it could detonate to destroy everything. And we see that LaBrava's like, oh, we have to warn them. We have to warn them right now, or else they're gonna be fish sticks. And she's absolutely right. And with that being the case, we see that some of the evacuation blocks are, once again, as I mentioned, inside the estimated blast zone. They are in range. So, yeah. And the craziest thing about this, and to show how powerful Dabi's blast really is, they're underground. Like a decent bit underground, no less. It's not like they're just like buried right beneath the surface. No, these people are, well, pretty deep underground. But even still, Dabi would incinerate them. Meaning that the raw power that Dabi has access to may be enough to actually do some decent damage to like Midoriya and All For One. And even Shigaraki. Like, if it's legit going to tear through and eat through the literal ground, that's crazy. Like, I'm not sure if you played Pokemon before, but fire types usually aren't good against ground types. But it seems like Dabi unlocked the move Fiery Cremation, and now he has what's that one move? Like, I forget which one it is. That one move that's super effective on ice type. Freeze dry. It's like freeze dry. Usually water is resistant to ice. Like, fire is usually not effective against ground. Yeah. So ice types and water types have freeze dry for other water types. Meanwhile, Dabi has Fiery Cremation for ground types, and the ground type is literally just the ground. And we see, in an awkward swing of poetic justice, the very people who wanted to save Dabi are the ones who have their lives put in jeopardy by him. Natsuo, Fuyumi, and Rei are the ones who are inside the estimated blast zone. They're the evacuation blocks that stopped. And notably, I feel like Do I complain about Dabi now? Do I complain about Dabi? I mean, he is like the main focal point of the chapter that leads to the big final conclusion. So I feel like I low-key gotta talk about him. So like, this would be so much more interesting and so much more pressing to me if, one, I believed it was actually going to happen. Obviously it isn't. I'm sorry. In my heart of hearts, I know Dabi's not going to succeed. And two, if Dabi actually cared a little bit about his family. He doesn't have to care much. He doesn't have to love them or anything like that. But like, if he didn't just despise every last one of them for simply existing, I think the conflict of him being the one about to end their lives would be more interesting. But we know based off the war, he couldn't care less about his family. Like, they're all, because they exist, they all need to suffer and are simply tools for making Endeavor feel bad and feel sad. So like, I don't know. I feel like it could be so much more interesting, but it just can't be. Like, at this point, it's just too late. Like, there's nothing we can do. Like, even if we were to establish now that, like, say hypothetically, right? Someone were able to get the message to Dabi, like, hey, your own family is right beneath you. If you're gonna detonate, hold it for like another 5 minutes so we can get him out of there. Dabi would be like, my family's there? That's gonna make my dad even more unhappy. Meanwhile, like, a Dabi that was actually like a half-written character would be like, wait, my family? Like the innocents? Fine. Old man will take this somewhere else. Or something like that. But right now, the only person who would be affected by that information is Endeavor. I'm not sure if that would give him like a push to fight harder or something. But I have no idea. Like, it's unfortunate that they're there. But these could literally be anybody within the stakes of the character investment. Well, no, once again, for Shoto and Endeavor, it matters. But I don't even think this information is going to get to them. Like, I don't even think they know. I think it's just for us, the audience, to know that the Todoroki family is in danger from the eldest Todoroki son. How, once again, how oddly poetic. What did George Lucas say? It rhymes. But with that being the case, we do get to see that now, with everything sort of detonating around them, the ceiling is caving in, and Goonhead is like, oh no, it'll reach us even though we're underground. Open the emergency hatch. Get to the surface. What? I'm sorry, what? I mean, I get it. I get the idea, right? Like, the evacuation block itself is stuck. So obviously staying in there probably isn't the best idea. But like, at least presumably the ground is gonna like cushion it a little bit. Do you expect this group of like young children and or regular adults to be able to outrun a 3-point-mile blast radius? Like, what are you planning to do by telling them to get up on the surface? Like, they would literally just be instantly vaporized. Like, if anything, you should want them to go deeper. But I guess it's hard to go deeper because there's ground. But I don't know why Goonhead is like, yes, we must get you to the surface so you can fry all the cleaner. We can have a Pompeii 2.0, if you know what I'm saying. Like, really, bruh? Really? I don't know. I don't necessarily see the thought process here. Maybe, like, hypothetically, right? Because the end of Dabi's backstory revealed the fact that the Todorokis want to save Dabi, right? Like, that's their main thing. So maybe this is, like, feeding into that plot. Like, getting them to the surface will get the Todoroki family to the surface, and they'll be able to reason with Dabi alongside Endeavor and Shoto, and then we'll be able to conclude that arc there, maybe stopping Dabi from detonating at all. But even still, I feel like that would, like, contradict Dabi's character. He wouldn't care. He'd, in fact, be happy that more people that he is directly related to by blood would be perishing at his own hand because of making Endeavor super duper sad. Like, I don't know. Unless Hori plans to, like, pull a hat trick out or, like, pull a bunny rabbit out of a hat, I have no idea what he's going to do that would actually make Dabi care about his family at all that wouldn't feel out of character at this point. However, we do get to see that now Masa just cannot catch a break because All For One isn't just flying to the destination of Shigaraki versus Midoriya. Nah, bro is accelerating. He is accelerating at Mach speed, and now he's sort of getting in range to use his ooze, his his gooey, and that means that if he gets within that range, he's just gonna boop. He's gonna be right there on top of Shigaraki, and well, he's already inside Shigaraki, so there wouldn't be too much of a difference of him being on top of him. But regardless, that is concerning. That is concerning. Now, I'm not even really concerned for Midoriya and then the fact that he's gonna have to run the 2v1, because I don't think so. Ironically enough, if anything, Shigaraki's gonna have to run the 2v1. Like, this may lead to an awkward but strange moment where, like, All For One and Midoriya both are like, hey, You want that guy to stop doing things. I also want that guy to stop doing things. Me, I want him to stop existing. I just want his hatred. You don't want him to stop existing, but you also don't want him to destroy anything. I'm going to try and possess him. You stay out of the way. No, I need to stop him. You stay out of the way. And like, if anything, it may turn into like a three for all. It's just a free for all, but like a 3 for all, like legitimately all 3 of them combating each other generally, rather than like facing each other down in like a 2v1 scenario for anybody. Like, I don't think Midoriya and Shigaraki are going to jump all for one. Though actually, I could see that happening. I really could see that happening, which is unfortunate. They either jump all for one and Shigaraki jump Midoriya, or Midoriya and all for one jump Shigaraki. Like, those are the main 3 scenarios I see. But if anything, I more so expect a free for all, where like they're all just attempting to override each other. Especially considering all for one's on a time limit, bro. Well, then again, the time limit hasn't really mattered, because once again, I need to remind y'all. Think about this real hard. Eri had a father. Presumably, like, assuming the youngest, let's just say Eri's father was an adult, just like literally just a legal adult. Let's say he turned 18 and like immediately got married, had a kid, which was Eri. Eri grew up for 5 years after that. So let's say her dad was 23, or even, let's even lowball. Let's say Eri's quirk manifested at like age 4. So the dad was 22. Eri reversed him out of existence with a touch. Y'all. And that was when her quirk was weaker. Now you're telling me after years of development and put into an unstable, weird drug thing, that all for one took it and he still exists after all the fighting he's been doing? And it's supposedly been speeding up with the damage he's taking? I'm sorry, what? Like, bro should not exist anymore. The time limit is so like arbitrary. I'm not even sure if I should count it as a time limit. It's much more a plot limit. Like, it will matter when Hori says it matters. At this point, all it's been doing is giving all for one new designs. Like, that's it. It's just only done that. It has not really done anything else. And that's it. Like, there's no real time limit. And that's unfortunate. There are no stakes. But with that being the case, we do get to see that Namasa realizes, yeah, if the 2 demon lords reunite, we're done for. Like straight up, there's no winning. Like, legitimately, there's no way that those 2 coming together results in a positive situation for anybody. Obviously, everyone's already down. No other hero is in fighting shape at this point. It literally is Midoriya versus the world, until maybe not at the end of this chapter. But with that being the case, Midoriya is already going to struggle to take down one of them. He's going to struggle to take down Shigaraki. And realistically, considering Shigaraki is as strong as Prime All Might, and I know Midoriya is stronger, he has 120%, but still, he's as strong as Prime All Might with a bajillion quirks and at least one-shot technique on top of regen. Midoriya doesn't have any regen. Midoriya is already fatigued from using Gear Shift. Midoriya is just not that guy. like straight up, Midoriya does not have it in the tank right now. So if the 2 demon lords appear on top of each other, another phrasing. But if the 2 demon lords manage to coexist together, it's a GG. Like, we lost. Like, if they get within range of each other, it's over. We lose. And with that being the case, it's crazy. Like, we are on the losing path right now. And we see Namasa just starting to sweat, starting to realize, reinforcements. And the guy says what I said earlier. There aren't any. And even if we had the perfect hero for the job, they'd never make it there in time. Which is true, because all for one's just blazing. Bro is moving. And once again, since he's almost in range to use the warp quirk, even if they were to get there, all for one just needs to fly a little bit further and warp out of there. And suddenly the hero's not even in the right position anymore. So they're done there. So Namasa kind of has this look of absolute pure despair on his face. And as he seems like he's about to give up, a voice comes through and says, Namasa-kun. But we cut away. We don't get to see who that was. We just know that there was a voice heard. And we cut over to somewhere. I forget what this area is called. But it is the area where the Todoroki brothers were having their brawl and Iida was existing. And we see that Iida's like, bro, chill out. You haven't recovered from using phosphor at this point. I have no idea how long it's been since this fight has happened, but you still obviously aren't doing too hot. And we see that Todoroki's like, no, I'm fine. All for one is about to reach Midoriya. I can still fight. You would get authorized. Todoroki, Todoroki, I hate to tell you, bro, but you would probably just actually make the situation worse. If you were to run into All For One right now, he would likely just jack your quirk and then keep it pushing. Like, bro, I'm not gonna lie, go anywhere else. Like, stay far away. Stay insanely far away from All For One. It is not worth it. Trust me, bro, it is not worth it. You are 10 times the liability than you are an asset at this point. Go get your brother. Go get your mans. And we do get to see that Iida's like, bro, you ain't gotta lie to me. You ain't gotta redirect. I know we are in like the worst possible situation ever, but I know where your mind space at. I know where your head space at. I got a brother too. Sure, my brother isn't a crazy supervillain, but still, I got a brother too. I know your thoughts must be filled with thoughts of Toya. And, you know, once again, this is another aspect of the Todoroki relationship that I feel is kind of lost by Dabi not having any regard or care for any of his siblings. Why? Why does Todoroki feel anything towards Dabi? Like, legitimately, did he even know Dabi? Like, by the time, like, did he genuinely know Dabi? Because I know Todoroki started getting solo training, and Dabi was locked away from them forever already. Like, by the time, because Dabi attacked Shoto when Shoto was a baby, and thusly Endeavor locked Shoto away from the rest of the family. So, does Todoroki even know Dabi? Does he even know Toya at all? Like, where are these conflicted emotions coming from? It's not like he knew Toya and Toya, like, co-raised him or helped him out at all when he was younger. No. As far as Todoroki knows, Toya is a crazy person with his last name that's going around and slaughtering everyone he knows and loves and is about to take the lives of a whole bunch of innocent people. And also the same guy who tried to burn him alive in the middle of the war. Like, I mean, I get it. If I found out I had a long-lost brother that ended up being crazy, I would feel bad too for 5 seconds, but like, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be like all hung up about it. But maybe that's just me. I obviously am nowhere near in the same situation that Todoroki is, so there's probably just different strokes for different folks. How would you feel? Like, how connected, if you were in Todoroki's shoes, how connected would you feel to Dabi once you found out that he was your brother? Like, that's it. Like, you just know that this guy, who you've never interacted with, by the way, like, at most you may have seen this guy in passing because you once lived under sort of the same roof. How would you feel if you were in Todoroki's shoes? Because me, I'd be a little bit ambivalent. And maybe that's just like the cold meanness in my heart, but I don't think I would feel like all too sympathetic or all too like like invested in my brother's well-being if he's literally just crazy. Like, bro tried to slaughter me. I'm not the biggest fan of him. However, we do get to see that Todoroki is feeling those thoughts about Toya, and he just holds silent before saying, I gotta do whatever I can. And we see that Iida flashes back. I think this is Iida. He flashes back to, get back here! You want to slay me, right? Like, what kind of unhealthy brotherly relationship is this? But we see that Iida says, I can only imagine what that was like when you had to face him, or how frustrated you must be right now. You once told me that I should never forget about who I want to become. So tell me, why does such a kind person have to go through so much? And yeah, that is a rough spot. Like, admittedly, I'm not the biggest Todoroki fan. And when I say Todoroki, I specifically mean Todoroki Shoto, right? Like, obviously, I love Endeavor. He's my favorite new gen thing, period. I do, like, Fuyumi's literally my second wife right after Maruko. Obviously, Natsuo's alright, and Rei's fine too. But I'm not the biggest, like, Todoroki Shoto fan. I get why people really like the character. He's cool, he has a good design, all that. It's just that he never necessarily clicked with me. So, like, I don't know. I feel like at the sacrifice of the rest of the family, Endeavor got all the good writing. He got all the best writing, and thus everyone else kind of falls off for me. However, we do get to see that someone rings in. Hey, testing. Oh, good, it finally connected. Hey, you two, you're safe and sound, right? Oh, All Might? Time is short, so I'll be brief. You guys need to run to Ganga, quickly. Dabi's about to detonate, and evacuation blocks are supposedly stopped right outside of the range of him, or right inside. Endeavor's facing off against Dabi, but his quirk won't be able to stop the explosion. Young Iida, I know you'll be able to run. Young Todoroki, mind and body are one. After overcoming so many hardships, I'm sure you know that by now. But All Might, All For One is... Don't worry, a powerful ally is waiting for him. The slightest hesitation against that monster would mean defeat. But the feelings of a young man are precious, even if those feelings include worry and hesitation. Stop Toya and reassure everyone. Become the ideal version of yourself. If we want any chance of averting disaster at Ganga, we need engine and half cold, half hot. It's up to you two. I'm counting on you. Run. But Iida, your engine is stalled. Okay, before we get into that. All Might is the one who comes in, and he reassures them. Now, admittedly, All Might is one of my favorite characters from My Hero Academia. He's another one of my favorite things the series has ever produced, and I love the bro. However, if you do ask me, I'd say all of his contribution, not all of it, I'd say a hefty chunk of his contribution post the Kamino incident is kind of, it's more meh than anything else. I do like his moments, don't get me wrong. It's they're even good. But I do believe I'd be more like appreciative of the character if he was, packed up just a little bit earlier. However, I am glad he's still around for moments like this, because it would be All Might, right? The hero of the previous generation who inspired so many that would tell the next generation to do it, to be heroes, to strike back no matter what they're feeling, no matter how they feel or anything like that. Still, they must do it. And he doesn't invalidate their feelings, right? That's the good thing. He doesn't invalidate their feelings. He says, I understand it. Even if you feel worry or hesitation, I completely get it. The feelings of a young man are valid no matter what. So with that being the case, I need y'all to overcome those feelings. I need y'all to be like that when it be like that, especially when it be like that. Go forth and save them. Reassure everybody and become the ideal version of yourself. Those words from All Might in particular, who literally was the ideal representation of a hero, peak in perfection. And we see that our boy, Iida Tenya, is ready for the challenge. He says, according to him, thanks to the rain, his engine is cooled off. He can run. And Todoroki, don't you know? My legs exist to guide lost children. So he backpacks Iida. Well, now he backpacks Todoroki. He puts his mask on Todoroki so he's ready and protected as they hit top speed. And we see, perched up, being useless as always, is Stain, who says, altruism. Impressed to see that the hero that he once was going to slay himself now stands ready to sacrifice himself for the greater good. And Iida flies off, blasts through buildings at maximum speed. How he's legit flying, I have no idea. I have no idea how bro is running in midair right now, but he's doing it. And we do get to see that we're flashing back to All Might, or cutting back over to him. And we see that, according to Hawks' battle report on All for One, the younger he gets, the stronger he becomes, and the less control he has over his negative emotions. And we see Namasa scream, "You idiot!" And we see that All Might declares, "This is how it's supposed to be, Tsukichi-kun. It always has been my fight. Do you remember how many times we fought? Tomura Shigaraki's hatred has spread to your main body, which means you won't be able to ignore me, because you don't even have a quirk! Even without a quirk, can I still be a hero? I am here." And there we go. All Might himself, nothing more than a mortal man, stands against a god reborn. And All for One is looking mighty devious in that final panel. He's ready to absolutely take the other half of All Might's respiratory system. And yeah, he's gonna die. Like, I don't think there's any necessarily like other angle to take this from. There's no other way to look at it. If All Might somehow beats All for One here, I think that would finally break me. I think you would literally hear me snap from halfway across the globe. Like, legitimately, it would make absolutely no sense. But we do get to see that All Might isn't stupid. He is pulling up with some sort of, like, Iron Man-esque armor or tech or something like that. Like, you see all this material falling out of this suitcase. It looks like even the car itself is transforming. So, obviously, he's going to have some, like, Iron Man-esque armor, some Black Panther-esque armor that's going to have him stall just a little bit. Hopefully. I mean, maybe I wouldn't necessarily snap if All Might won, because notably All Might doesn't need to win. He just needs to stall out All for One long enough that Rewind does the rest. And obviously, this would be a good place to get rid of All for One, because honestly, he's been a parasite on the narrative. Check out the long, the extremely long All For One discussion video I released recently if you want to hear my full thoughts on that. He's been a parasite on the series for a while now, so that'd be a good way to get rid of both of them. Really let the old generation die with aspects of the new generation. The new generation aspect that All For One is using is rewind. The new generation aspect that All Might is using is all the technology stuff. So have these two legends, these ancient creatures from a time long past, destroy each other with the world that's going to come after them. I think it'd be neat. I'm down for it actually now. Like, because All Might doesn't ever have to win. Like, he doesn't actually have to beat him down physically. He doesn't have to go 3 for 3. No, he just needs to stall him out so that All For One perishes. Though now, admittedly, All For One, well, he does need Shigaraki's body because now he's rewinding himself. Like, legitimately, if he could just, like, negate that real quick, then he wouldn't even need Shigaraki anymore because now he has the hatred in his main body. But, hey, it'd be like that when it be like that, especially when it be like that. Overall, W chapter, I mean, I'm fine with Dabi detonating. Never been a fan of the character anyway, so if he wants to go out in one final big bang, perfectly fine by me. Obviously, that ain't gonna happen, though. At least I don't think so. That'd be causing way too much damage. So it's great to see how everyone reacts to that. Great to see All For One versus All Might, and it's great to see Todoroki, you know, getting those words of encouragement. Him and Iida. Iida's one of my favorite characters, too. So getting Iida some more screen time, even if it's just as a delivery boy, fantastic to me. However, those are my thoughts. Please leave me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure the notification bells to miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do a Patreon below. Each one as one, cut them one, down month, releases videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as 3 as month to get the same perks and more. Now, thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dago the Pencil, writing off.